Assalamu alaikum my dear students, and welcome to the lecture of information technology for standard 12th. This is the chapter number 3, advanced JavaScript. We are continuing with our revision. In last lecture we have already studied about functions, that there are two types of function. One is built-in function and another one is user-defined functions. We have seen built-in functions in detail in our last lecture. That in built-in function, what is built-in function? Built-in functions are the functions which are already built into an application, correct, and can be easily accessible by the end user. Okay, so they can access these built-in function. The user can access these built-in function by their names. Like for example, parseInt, parsefloat and string. We have seen these three examples: parseInt, parsefloat and string, where parseInt method or parseInt inbuilt function parses a string and return an integer. It passes a string means it converts the accepted value or string value into integer value. Okay, what do you mean by integer value? Integer value is the whole value. Okay, these are the whole values without fractional point value, without decimal point value, the whole value. Okay, numbered value. So that is called as integer. So whatever user is going to enter, we can convert that value, either string value or floating point value, into integer value by using parseInt method or parseInt built-in function. Then we have seen one example for this. Then next built-in function is parsefloat. What this parsefloat function will do? The parsefloat function parses a string into floating point or decimal point value. It converts the string value or whole value into floating point value. Okay, it converts the value into floating point value, that is the decimal point value. What is floating point value? The decimal point value. Okay, for example 30.5, 20.5, 20.7. so these are the example of decimal point value, correct? So it parses the string or accepted value into decimal point value. The parsefloat function passes a string into floating point value. Then we have seen one more function, that is the string function, correct? What string function will do? String function will parses the value into string. It converts the value into string, so that you cannot use that value into your calculation. It parses or it converts the accepted value, integer value or whole value or floating point value into string value. String values are also called as constant value, because you cannot use these constant values in your programming for calculation. So it passes the values, numbered values, into string value, so that you cannot use that value in the calculation. Okay, got it? So now next section or next type is user defined function. So what is this user defined function, students? User defined function is a block of reusable instruction which can be called anywhere in your programming. See, there are two types of function: built-in function and user-defined function. Built-in functions we have already studied, we have already seen the examples also. Now we are going to see the user-defined function. Okay, so what is user-defined function? See, user-defined function, a JavaScript function is defined with the function keyword. A user-defined function is defined with the function keyword followed by a name and followed by a parenthesis. So these functions name can contain letters, digits, underscore and dollar sign. Same rules as variables. What are the rules for variables? You can use letters, digits, underscore and dollar sign. Other than these signs, you cannot use any other sign. You cannot use space in between the name. You cannot start your variable name with a digit. You can only start your variable name with letter, dollar or underscore. Correct? So these are the rules for the variable names. Right? So the same rules apply here also for function name. The function name can contain letters, digits, underscores and dollar sign. Correct? And how to define this function? This is the definition of a function. A JavaScript function is defined with the function keyword. We can define the function. We can define what action we want to do. To define it, we are supposed to first define the function with the keyword function keyword. Okay, function is a keyword which is used to define the function, followed by a name of a function. Okay, function keyword, the name of the function and then opening and closing parenthesis. This is compulsory. This is the syntax of user defined function. Okay, see the syntax. See, function is a keyword. This is the function keyword. Then function name. This is the name of the function, and then parenthesis. Here you can, in this parenthesis you can write your parameters, the values which you want to pass. If you don't want to pass any value, you can directly write opening bracket and closing bracket. You are not supposed to write anything between this parenthesis. But if you want to pass any value, then it is in the form of parameter. You can pass those parameters between this opening bracket and closing bracket. Okay, and it, as I already said, that function is a block of instructions. So to make a block, we are supposed to open the block with the curly bracket and close the block with the closing curly bracket. So this is the syntax where you are supposed to start your function with function keyword, then function name followed by the parenthesis. These are the parentheses. If necessary, you are supposed to pass the parameter. If not necessary, you can write directly opening and closing curly bracket, but brackets are compulsory. Here the parenthesis round brackets are compulsory to write, and there is no semicolon at the end of the function definition. You are not supposed to write any semicolon here at the end of the function definition. Why? Because it contains a block. See, it is continue with this block, right? The function is not closed here. It is continue with this block. So to continue with the block, you are not supposed to write semicolon here. If you suppose if you have written semicolon here, so after that semicolon it will not execute this block. It will stop here only. It will end the statement here only, but the statement is not end here, right? It is continue with the block. So to continue with the block, you are not supposed to write any semicolon here. Got it? So function keyword, then function name, then parenthesis. If not, then blank parenthesis, and then opening curly bracket and closing curly bracket. This is compulsory, and the function body will come here between the opening and closing curly brackets. Got it? So this is what syntax of function. Now when this function is going to execute, when the user calls this function, then it is going to execute, right? So to call the function, you must supposed to write the function name. Okay, this function name in an event. You are supposed to call this function name in an event, so that this function is going to be activate and then it is going to be execute. Before that, it is not going to be execute. Okay, so to execute the function, because it is just a definition, you are just defining the function here. Correct? So to execute this function, you are supposed to call this function somewhere. Okay, so to call the function, you must use the events. In events, you can call the functions. Okay, so events, in events, any event you can call, like on click, on mouse over, on mouse move, any event you can make, you can use to call this function. Got it? So this is the definition of the function. This is the syntax of the definition of the function. Okay, so this way you can declare your function. Now next one is, below are the rules for creating a function in JavaScript. These are the few rules which you are supposed to follow before creating the function. Okay, first rule is, every function should begin with the keyword function. The function keyword is must in your function declaration. If you are declaring a function, it is must to write the function keyword in the beginning. Got it? So every function should begin with the keyword function. Then second one is a user-defined function name. User-defined function name which should be unique. This function name should be unique. Okay, if there are three functions with the same name, then the execution will get stopped. Why? Because the because the calling of the function will get confused which function is supposed to call. If there are three functions with the same name, then it is very difficult to recognize which function is called. Okay, so the function name should be unique. It should be unique. You cannot repeat the function name in the whole program. Okay, a list of the parentheses enclosed within the parenthesis. A list of the parameters enclosed within the parenthesis and separated by commas. If you are suppose passing any values in this function, then these list of the parameters are supposed to be separated by the comma. Okay, then a list of statement composing the body of the function enclosed within the curly brackets. Okay, these are the brackets where you are supposed to write down the function body. So whatever action you are going to perform after calling a function, then that action should be written here in between this parenthesis, in between this curly bracket and closing curly bracket. Got it? So these are the rules which you are supposed to follow. The next one is one example. I am going to show you one example how to call a function. To call a function, the syntax is function name, then the value 1, value 2. Why value 1, value 2? If you are passing any parameter in function declaration, then you are supposed to write value 1, value 2 here. If you are not passing any parentheses, if you are not passing any parameters, then you are not supposed to write anything here. You can just write opening round bracket and closing round bracket. No need to write value 1, value 2. If it is, see here, if you are passing any parameter here, then you are supposed to write the values in calling. Okay, and the function name should be the same. Here the function name is function name and here the function name is function name. So these name should be the same. If I am writing it with a small letter and if I am calling it with a capital letter, it will never call the function. Okay, so what I am supposed to do? I am supposed to write the function name similar like in declaration. Right, now see here the small letter function name and the capital letter function name. So these function names should be the same in declaration also and in calling also. Got it? Now after defining a function, the next step is to call them to make use of the function. You are making a function, right? So if you are making a function, you need to call this function somewhere in your program. Correct? So how to call that function? To call the function, this is the syntax, function name, the name of the function. Okay, and then the parameter values. If you are passing any value, you can pass the values from here and it will come here. The passed values will come here in parameter 1 and parameter 2. Got it? So this function name and the calling function name should be the same, and parameters, if you are passing any parameter in declaration, then you are supposed to write the values here. It is compulsory then to write the values here. Got it? We can call a function by using the function name separated by the value of the parameters enclosed within the parenthesis and a semicolon at the end. Yes, here you can write the semicolon at the end because it is a function calling. Correct? You are going to call a function, so you can end the statement here. But here in declaration part, you cannot end the statement here by putting the semicolon at the end. Got it? Because it is followed by this block of statement, right, with the function body. So if you write semicolon here, if you put semicolon here, then this is of no use. Got it? Now next example of a user defined function. Now see, this is one example of a user defined function. Okay, here the program is write a JavaScript program to accept two values from the user and display the addition of two numbers using a function. What you are supposed to do, you are supposed to create a program, you are supposed to create a form. On that form, you are supposed to click on that form to call a function. In function declaration, what you are supposed to do, you are supposed to accept two values from the user. You need to accept two values from the user. Which method is used to accept the value from the user? Prompt method, right? So you need to accept two values by using prompt method. Prompt method is used to accept the values from the user. Correct? So you need to accept two values from the user by using prompt method and display the addition of two numbers using function. Okay, so you need to call a function, and in that function you need to add these two values and display the output on the screen. So we are going to write the program for this. See here, this is the program, okay, where I have written a function but I have not called it yet. This is the function, right? This is the function body, okay, and this is the declaration part. See, function, keyword, and then name of the function addition, and then this is the body of the function. Correct? But I have not called it yet, so it will not execute this program. Why? Because this function is not being called anywhere. So you first need to call the function somewhere. To call a function, what I am going to do, I am going to create a button. Okay, so I am going to create a button by using button. This is the tag which is used to create a button, and on clicking on this button, so on click event, on clicking on this button, I am going to call a function. That is, the name of the function is addition. See, this function name and this function name should be the same. Okay, the same name you are supposed to use in calling of the function. This is the function calling, addition. Okay, then opening bracket and closing bracket, this is the function calling. Okay, then after this I am going to write what you are supposed to display on the button. I am going to display add two values. Okay, then I am going to close the button here. Okay, then save the program. HTML. Okay, we are going to execute the same program. Sorry. Now see, this is the example. Okay, addition exp. This is the example. Now in this program, what I have done, I have displayed one heading by using H1, example of user defined function. This is my heading. See the program also. So this is the program. So I have used H1 heading this is the heading H1, this is heading H1, the highest level heading, which I am using to display example of user defined function on the screen. Okay, then I have created one button by using button tag. So this is the button. Okay, button, on this button I am going to display add to values. So this add to values, this is the label of the button which is going to display on the button. Okay, then on clicking on this button I am going to call the function addition. Okay, so when I click here it will call a function addition, and in that function, in addition function, what I did, I have created two variable, variable A and variable B. Then I have called the prom box. I have asked for the prom box. I have asked the value from the user. So I have asked enter the value of A and enter the value of B. User is going to enter the value of A and B, and then I have displayed the value of A and then value of B on the screen, and then I did the addition by using third variable, that is where C is equal to A plus B, then displayed the value of C on the screen. So see the output here. When I click here, it will call a function, it will ask for the value of A, correct, enter the value of A. So suppose if I write 5, then click OK. If I write 4, then OK. So the value of C should be 9, right? But here it is displaying 54. Why? Because I already told you that any value, whatever value you are accepting by prompt method, it is in the form of string value or constant value, right? So before using this value in calculations, you are supposed to convert it into integer value. So by using parse int method, you are going to convert this value into integer value. Okay, so here we are converting the value by using parse int, I capital parse int method. Okay, then bracket, the bracket will close at the end. Okay, now see, save and execute this program once again. Now I am going to write the same values here, 5 and then 4. Okay, now see the output. The output is 9. So this way you can accept the value by using prompt method and then convert the value by using parse int method and then display the output on the screen. See the program once again. This is the program doctype HTML. Doctype HTML, it is a compulsory statement because we are using HTML5. Okay, then HTML body, this is the highest level heading which I want to display on the screen. Okay, see the highest level heading is displaying on the screen. That is example of user defined function. Okay, and after that I am going to create a button. On clicking on this button I am going to call a function addition. So what is there in function addition? This is the function declaration. Okay, during the function declaration, function keyword is must. In the beginning you are supposed to write the function keyword before starting the function. Okay, so this is compulsory keyword which you are supposed to use before using the before declaring the function. Okay, so function keyword, the name of the function, this name of the function should be the same with the name of the function which you are using to call the function. Okay, so here this function name and this function name should be the same. Here you are supposed to write down the semicolon because it is the statement, this is the function calling, but here you are not supposed to write down the semicolon because it is continued with the block of statements. Okay, so here this is the block of statement of function, this is the function body. See, starting with the curly bracket and ending with the closing curly bracket. Okay, now in this I am going to call a variable. I am going to create a variable A and variable B. These are two variables. There I am going to call a prompt method. Okay, I am going to pop up the prompt method where I am going to ask the user to enter the value of A and enter the value of B, but whatever value we accept from the user by using prompt method, it is in the form of string value. So first we need to convert that string value into integer value by using parse int method. This is the method, parse int method, which is used to convert the value into integer value. Got it? Now after this conversion, we are supposed to display the value of A on the screen and display the value of B on the screen by using document.write method. This document.write method is used to display the value on the screen. Okay, then after that we are supposed to add the accepted values. Okay, so variable C is equal to A plus B. This is what addition of A plus B. Okay, then at the end we need to display the output, that is the value of C on the screen. Now see the output once again. When I click here, add two values, it will call a function where I have asked to enter the value of A, correct? So it will pop up one message box with the input box to ask the user to enter some value. Now what it is asking for the value of A, correct? So I have returned the value of A is 2. Then OK. Then it is asking for the value of B, so I have written 3. Okay, then press OK. It will calculate the value and will display the value in C. Got it? I hope you have understood this. See the program once again. If you have any doubt, just note it down. Now we are going to stop here. Today we have studied about the functions. Okay, in last lecture I have explained you what is function, that a function is a set of instructions, correct? Then after that I explained you the types of function. There are two types of function. One is user defined function, another one is built-in function. We have seen the built-in function in last lecture in detail. Today we have studied the user defined function. In user defined function there are two steps. One is the function declaration. Okay, there are two steps. One is function declaration and another one is function calling. In function declaration, what you are supposed to do, this is the syntax. In function declaration, what you are supposed to do, you are supposed to first declare it by using function keyword, just like a variable declaration. First we use var keyword before declaring the variable. Just like that, here before declaring a function you are supposed to use function keyword. Okay, so this function is a keyword, then the function name, it is followed by a function name, and that function name is followed by the parenthesis. This is the opening parenthesis and this is the closing parenthesis, and between this parenthesis if you are passing any value, okay, at the time of calling, then that value is going to store here in parameter 1 and parameter 2. But if you are not passing any value, then you can put this empty, this parameter, you can put this parameter empty. Okay, then after that there is a block of code. Okay, this is the function body, this is the block of code, this is the block of function body. Okay, opening with this curly bracket and closing with this curly bracket. Now below are the rules for creating a function. These are the rules. First rule is it should start with the keyword function. Second rule is the function name should be unique. Third is the parameter enclosed within the parentheses are separated by comma. Fourth rule is a list of statement composing the body of the function enclosed within the curly bracket. Okay, then next step is calling of a function. Okay, so this is the way you can call a function, by using function name. Okay, you can call a function with the function name, and if you are passing any value, if there is in declaration you have written any parameter, then you are supposed to pass the value from here. Okay, see this, After defining a function, the next step is to call them. To make use of the function, then we can call a function by using the function name separated by the values parameter enclosed within the parenthesis and the semicolon at the end. Okay, the example of the user defined function is, we have seen one example for this. This is the example, okay, where you are supposed to we have seen one example to accept two values by using prompt method, and then we have declared a function. In that function we have accepted two values by using prompt method, then we have converted that value into integer by using parseInt method, and then we have added these two values and displayed it on the screen. Okay, now we are going to stop here. In next lecture we will continue with the same. Thank you so much.